when you're setting up your cables for a shoot, there's some concerns that you should be aware of. First of all, when you connect your cable to your camera, if I connect this right to my camera, and I have my cable here, can you see a problem with the way this is set up? This cable is a tripping hazard. It's running right across a hallway. If somebody walks along and they trip on this cable, they could pull the camera and down and break your expensive equipment. It'll ruin your shot, could break the equipment, they could get hurt, injured, and so what you need to do is tape the cable down in a way that prevents tripping and makes it a safer environment. Let me show you how to tape a cable down. The first thing you want to do when you tape a cable down is you don't want it super tight inside of the camera. If I were to take this cable here and I were to tape it down right like this, you'll notice my cable is very taut. This is going to cause a problem with if you need to pan, all of a sudden you can't pan, you can't move. If you need to tilt, it's going to constrain the camera movements. You want to make sure that you have slack in your cable. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to bring my cable and I want to give it a little bit of slack. What this will do is it allows me to move and pan freely. I can tilt. I have much more freedom of movement on the camera. So if you don't have a handle like this, you can always take a small strip of gaffer's tape and tape very loosely the cable on here. The reason you tape it loosely is so that if somebody does accidentally trip, they pull it off, you have a little extra space, but the tape releases and it comes off. So that's another way to add slack inside of your cable. Now we're going to tape down our cable to make it safe. To tape down a cable, you're going to use gaffer tape. Don't use duct tape. Even though duct tape's much cheaper, use gaffer tape. It's much better. When you tape down a location, I like to put a coil at the bottom of your camera. This will allow you, if you need to move, you can move the camera slightly. You have a little bit of extra space. Then what you need to do is tape your cable from one location to the other. Always tape in straight lines. The cable looks horrible if you tape something and it goes in different zigzags. I try to follow lines that are already there. In this case, I'm following the lines of the tile on the floor. If you have numerous cables to tape down, make sure you put all the cables in the same spot before you start taping, so you don't have to tape over and over again. When I tape down, I like to start at one end with the tape crossing over the cable or cables. I then stretch a straight line to where I want the cable to be. This is still a tripping hazard. Because this cable's loose, it may be a worse tripping hazard than it was before. So to fix that, I'm going to tape down the length of the cable. I put my gas tape down, I pull out a long strip, trying to keep the cable in the center. Making sure to press the tape down so that it holds the cable firmly in place. If you're running multiple cables from the same location, run them all under the same tape, but you may have to use 2 strips of tape. I will demonstrate with a little bit less tape. If I take the tape and I run it over half of the cable and then press down, I can take the rest of the tape, I can take another strip on the other side and run it down this side. This is double taping the cable or cables. This works well when you're trying to run multiple cables in the same location. If you're going to tape cable to a wall or a painted surface, tape has the tendency to peel paint from the wall, or if you have a nice floor and you don't want to ruin the floor. One technique that I use is I'll take the tape and I will just put it on my clothing first to pick up a little bit of lint. Then if I have to tape something to the wall, it has a barrier of lint, and it'll make it much easier to peel the tape off when I'm done without peeling the paint. This is a tip to use when you have to put tape on a painted or finished surface. Once you are finished with your shoot and it's time to clean up, make sure that you clean up your cables and put them away properly. Let me show you how to remove the tape. To remove the tape, you simply grab the end of the tape and you pull the tape up. Make sure all tape ends up in the garbage. You don't want to leave tape at your venue or a mess for the next crew to get there. One thing you do not want to do is grab the cable and pull the cable up like this. Although it works, it's adding extra stress to your cable, and when you pull it up, your tape might wrap around the cable like this, and then it becomes a pain to remove the tape from your cable. You may have to take scissors or a knife and you risk damaging the cable. So never pull the cable up to remove the tape. Instead, pull the tape up. Now, gaffer's tape is expensive. It's about $20 a roll. Don't let the cost of the tape, though, prevent you from being safe. The $20 will save you much more in damage to your equipment or a possible lawsuit, or maybe the company won't call you back if there's safety issues. One thing when you're running cables, run cables, always tape or put a cover on the cables when it goes through a hallway. If you're running cables along a wall, it's going to be less necessary to tape the cables because people don't walk along the wall. Or if you're running behind chairs, just make sure to push it up to the edge to keep your cables safe from tripping hazards and to keep them out of the way. Once you're finished, make sure that you clean everything up and you put it away.